Right, I'm live right now.
Okay.
Um, all right. So first of all, let's just start off. You can give a quick introduction of yourself, um, like who you are, what you're doing in the league, what you want to get out of the coaching, right? And then we can just get right into it.
So I'm playing mid lane in League. I'm playing League for like, I don't know, 4 to 5 years. I'm trying to like get into competitive scene. I
Mhm.
played 2 splits in second division ERLs, one in Czech and one in Greece. Now I'm playing for the division NLC.
All right, all
And
right.
in the game I sent you, but overall in this coaching, I would like to mm, like point out some bad things I do, because sometimes I get lost in games and then I just randomly run around the map and do some random shit.
All right. Yeah, seems all clear. So you said you run around like mid game, do some random things. Is that also something you would like to focus on in the session today, or is it just we just go over the entire FAT and just we'll just see?
I think we'll just go through the game and see, because the game is
Sure, sure,
quite
sure,
short.
sure,
I
sure, sure.
couldn't get the longer one.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll open my screen share for you now on Discord, so you can just join the screen share.
Yeah, man.
Right. Um, so first thing I was doing the session is quickly look at your OBGG, see if there's any runes or builds you could improve on, right? And also watch like what champs you're playing, right?
Yeah.
I mean here you have like a streak where you play mostly Nico, right? Which I mean is really good, really strong champ, right? Generally speaking, if you want to climb in solo queue, you want to keep your champion pool small because it allows you to be
And more
more.
focused on macro and less focused on how to
Yeah,
play the champ.
exactly. If you are really comfortable on your champ, right, you're not gonna
Yeah.
make as many mistakes, and you're gonna be able to focus on other things as well. And generally speaking, you'll just be better, right, at the champion
Yeah.
you are playing. Um, so for sure, when I'm watching here, right, if it counts like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different champs in a row, then one double, then 6, 7. I mean, I guess this is kind of overall right, so we'll just ignore that one.
Yeah.
uh, which to me, right? I mean, you get ace a lot, so maybe you just have unlucky games. Like I haven't seen the games, right? But to me, that means okay, maybe you're playing a bit too many different champions, right? Instead of sticking to um, one thing you're really good
Yeah.
at.
I mean, I wanted to just spam and play Nico, but right now when static is broken, like, to be honest, I just got bored of Nico, so I just started
Yeah, yeah.
banning Nico and want to spam LeBlanc Akali, but LeBlanc is banned every game. And I don't see, like, I used to be Akali OTP, but I don't see, like, many good Akali angles. So then I just pick a random champion that can build static and go play that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? But I mean, it's like
I
new. It's new patch, right? So it makes sense. Um, but yeah, generally speaking, it is not the best for climbing, right? But you
yeah.
probably experienced it yourself as well. Um, just looking at runes and stuff, see if there's anything you can do better. I mean, Ezreal not really playing right. Let's see what you are
By the
playing.
way, you can look at the Kaisa, because I like at the Kaisa
Oh,
game,
mhm,
because I know how to like build the full AP Kaisa, but I'm
mhm,
not sure
mhm.
how to build and max spells on this weird AP on hit Kaisa. So I think I fucked up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what like most people are doing, right? I mean, I've seen some builds that you are kind of doing right now, where it's like they just play ADC Kai'Sa, but they build static and Nash's, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of solo lane Kai'Sas as well that just go kind of the old AP build, but with static now, right? So
Yeah,
you go
it's the
like
static Luden. But I wanted to
static
go like on
Manamune
hit.
Ludens, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to like go on hit this game because like they were pretty low range.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it would be better for me to just out attack
Mm.
them. But I'm not sure if going Ginso second or Nashor second is better.
I mean, I think so. You're saying they're like low range, so you want to go on hit, right? Which kind of makes sense. But on the other hand, you can also argue that they don't really have a tank, right? They have
Yeah.
kind of 5 champions that don't want to build too many resistances, at least early game, and then of course Lee
Mhm.
Sin will get some later on. So AP Kai'Sa is actually very good against champs that don't really build resistances, just build health.
Yeah.
So you could also consider, like in games like these, again, it's like a new thing, right? So I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I'm not 100% sure what is the
Mhm.
best, right? Um, but yeah, you can consider going just
Mhm.
the burst build into champs like these because, especially something like Aphelios, Tryndamere has some sustain, but it's hard for him mid game, right? Like if you are grouped up with the team and you're looking to fight, which you should be doing with this comp, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for them to really do anything about full AP Kai'Sa. But yeah, um, for the build, it's like I wouldn't be playing cookies. I think cookies is not needed, right? Um, I think futures is really good with the new static build, but in general on AP
Yeah.
Kai'Sa to hit your spikes, right? So you can kind of cheat out things. And I would imagine Tryndamere shouldn't be the hardest lane, right? To be able to at least early on get like a good base off, which futures can really help in, right?
Yeah.
And then once you, of course, once you hit static, you should be able to kind of delete wave whenever you want, and then you're able to get like kind of free bases off, which futures is also good for, right? So I don't think you really need cookies. Um, Obviously, free boots really good, right? And in solo queue, I think Treasure Hunter is like a really good rune. So I think
Yeah.
the rune set, the only thing you could change is swap out Eyeball for Ghost Poro if you feel like you're um, struggling with vision, right? But Eyeball is like in solo queue, Eyeball is really fine, right? Because you're gonna fight a lot. Let's say it's competitive game, right? You're playing like a scrim or a match. I wouldn't go Eyeball. I would go either Poro or Zombie Ward. But I think on mid lane
Somewhat.
Poro is better because
Yeah.
the
On mid Poro is good. It's like
yeah
3 AP.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
you get like extra vision as well, right? Which is good.
Yeah.
Like the vision lingers with the Poro, which as long as you scout out enemy jungle, that's kind of already what you need, right? In competitive, you don't need to see him all the way.
Yeah.
Um,
And also maybe in competitive going something like Relentless Hunter will be better than Treasure Hunter.
yeah, for example. But you can also go if you're going Manamune build, you can also go Ingenious.
Ingenious.
Yeah,
Yeah. Too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're not building Manamune, of course you don't need it, right? I'm pretty sure static doesn't like. There's no cooldown on static, right? It's just the energize
Yeah.
thing,
There's
so
no
it
cooldown.
doesn't
Just
benefit from it. I'm
stacks.
pretty sure.
Yeah. Only like
Um,
Luden benefits from it, but it doesn't matter because it's like 5 seconds cooldown.
mhm. Are you still playing like Akali, Syndra, the top play champs, or not really?
I'm like not really playing Akali anymore, but I will pick up her since like static shift is a thing again.
Hmm. I mean,
And
they're
I didn't.
playing static Akali.
Yeah, I think static Akali should be a thing because you have like a really high base damage. You
Hmm.
also have
Hmm.
AD scalings. So
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
going
fair
like
enough.
static into Protobot might be okay.
I mean, I haven't seen it at all, right? So maybe it's good. I have no clue. Everything static seems to be happy, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just watching. I mean, only thing I can really see is that, like when I'm watching runes, right? I mean, I'm not 100% sure, of course, about like. Does he still play? I know he's like a Kali player, so I just want to check like the runes, you know.
Hmm.
But the only thing I'm not sure about is like if Presence of Mind is like needed or not, right? I wouldn't know. Um,
It's really good because you get
but
energy on kill.
yeah, but like Coop is not the best rune, right? So typically speaking, you would prefer going last stand even on Akali if you're doing
Yeah.
like the runes like this. I mean, I know this guy in solo queue. He always goes like he's like Akali OTP, but he doesn't really play anymore apparently, or not on this account at least. He always goes this because he gets like good burst for lane. But obviously a lot of competitive Akalis I see going Conqueror, right? So probably Conqueror is fine. I wouldn't be able to tell you like with
I mean,
confidence when which
I
build is better,
played
right?
like 400 games on Akali and I tried everything. And like Conqueror feels the best for me. And I also tried to like see if Coop or Last Stand is better. And usually, if the enemy team is like more tanky-ish, then I go Last Stand. Or if I play into melee champion, because then I want to rush Shadow Flame and like more have like longer fights. But in general, Coop deals more damage on Akali than Last Stand does.
All right. I mean, I'll take your word for it, right? I just know Last Stand is like a like stat wise a better rune, right?
Yeah,
So
it's better than.
when if your champ can use Last Stand, typically speaking, it's gonna be better, right?
Yeah, I play it on Yone Irelia every game.
Yeah, I'm just watching through like builds as well, right? For example, like the Leandris versus Lunans when you go it, right? But you seem to be understanding that Leandris is like good when enemies want to build health and want to get tanky,
Yeah.
right? Which, I mean, it speaks for itself as well. Same thing, of course, if enemies are like stacking MR, Lunans doesn't get as much value, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, use like I can't go into detail on every game, right? But it looks like you're like generally speaking doing like the right build, and the runes also look fine.
I'm playing
Which is
like the
really
full
OP.
scaling,
Yeah,
full
yeah, yeah.
scaling on Syndra, because you don't need
Yeah,
mana flow as well.
for sure. And gathering, of course, really good with your passive, like a really good synergy. Right. Is there anything else you want to look at, like regarding builds or like runes or anything? Otherwise, we'll go on to the VOD right now.
Probably, maybe if I get out of health, like, is Gale Force still the best mythic item on, for example, Jinx, or is I just better
I
at
mean,
this
the
point?
answer is it just depends.
Yeah, like,
Basically, some games you need either Gale Force for the dash it gives, right? Or for or if you get out range to close the gap and get one kill, right? And if you don't need any of like those things, it's of course not the highest DPS item, right? So Infinity Dash will
yeah.
be better in the spots where you don't need Gale Force. And then it's kind of the same with, for example, BT versus LDR on third, right? Like if you don't need LDR, typically speaking, BT will be your highest damage item because of how much AD it gives. And if you need LDR, you need LDR, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the general like
Okay.
way to think about it.
Because before the Gale Force nerf, I used to go Gale Force every game because it just dealt stupid amount of damage, and I wasn't sure if like the damage matters on ADCs that
I
much.
mean,
ADCs probably the dash is like
it's
way more
like
important.
yeah, but I mean even before it was like the same thing, right? Where if
Mm.
you didn't need Gale Force for anything, you would go IE, right? Even with buffed Gale
Mm.
Force, because let's say you're hitting a front line, right? And you don't need a Gale Force dash, then why are you building Gale Force over IE, right? But if they're
Yeah.
like 5 squishy champs and you just need to play for one quick reset, then of course Gale Force is like good value, right? Because it can give
Yeah.
you the ability to get that reset to get the fight going, right? That's why a lot of
Yeah.
times in pro play you see people building Gale Force. That's also why a lot of times people are, for example, building like Gale Force into Rapid Fire, even though stat-wise on Jinx it was really bad, just because of the utility it adds, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, and as for runes, it's kind of like you're doing fine runes, right? I mean, here, for example, you're playing against two assassins, and you're going like defensive scaling, which is really good, right? You don't need offensive scaling for a team like this. So runes look good on Jinx as well. Um, So yeah, I mean, let's just get into the VOD then. All right. So first thing to look at, right, is in your matchup, right, on wave 1, 2, and 3, who has the prio? Like, who has control of the lane in this lane?
I wasn't really sure, but probably it should be me, just because of the ranged versus melee matchup.
Yeah, it should be you, right? And not just because of the range versus melee matchup, but also because ADC champs, you buy AD on your first like purchase, right? And you have Hail of Blades as well, so you're actually very, very strong early game. You do a lot of damage to minions with autos. You get attack speed from your runes as well, right? And then, of course, when he walks up, you can do a lot of damage. So you should have wave control for sure in this matchup. Then, do the junglers want to impact your lane?
I mean, like not really. It's like it's hard for us to somehow gank or do anything with the Tryndamere. It's easier for the Lee Sin.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
mean,
White just wants to cover me and
yeah,
do
Tryndamere doesn't really have
something
gank setup, right? So unless you're
Yeah.
pushed up too far with no vision, Lee Sin doesn't necessarily want to look to gank mid all that often. And the same goes all the way around for Fi as well, right? It's hard
Yeah.
for Fi to really gank mid, especially if you are pushing up. Of course, if he's pushed up to your turret and he has no vision, he can look, right? But we're not expecting like heavy focus or like too early influence. Only thing we of course have to look out for is, and this is like always the case on mid, right? Is that enemy jungle does like a transition gank through mid, which can mess with your lane, right? It can make it hard. And then the very last thing that I think is really good to look at the mid lane is if the supports can actually impact mid lane.
I mean, both of them can. Pike should impact mid lane better because like Seraphine can push way easier and can also stay alone on lane easily.
Yeah, for sure, right? Pike wants to look to gank mid whenever he has like roam timers, right? So watch out for like when Pike gets roam timer on bot because at those timers, if you have your wave in a good state, it can lead to kill, right? That being said, right? So both junglers don't really want to impact mid lane too early. Supports obviously don't do it on wave 1, 2, 3. And we have control. So how do we want to play wave 1, 2, 3? And I don't know if you're familiar with this way of thinking. If you're not, I'll quickly explain it.
I think you can explain. Maybe I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, so basically in League, right, waves are very predictable, right? And the same goes for like champions level 1 early game. They're very predictable. So wave 1, 2, 3 are the 3 most predictable waves in the game. So we always want to have a plan in mind when we're playing those because they're very important, right? They set up the rest of the laning, how it goes, right? If you fuck up or if you get a good lead on wave 1, 2, 3, it can snowball. So what we want to look at is what objective do we want to achieve after the third wave, right? So we do something on wave 3 to achieve what we want, right? And example of this could be we want to take a recall, right? It's called the cheater recall. You're probably familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Another example could be we want to punish on the tower, or we want to help our jungle do something. It's whatever, right? But whatever objective we have, or enemy has, right? It should be predictable on wave 1 till 3. So the first thing you want to look at, kind of, is what do you want to achieve after the third wave?
Yeah. I mean, in this game, it like I think I didn't have like exact plan in my mind because I was I think respecting Tryndamere too much. But ideally, I would like to like slow push first two and crash the third wave, and then either like look if my jungler wants to do something or just go base.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? And you kind of already come to step 2, which is looking at how you want to do it. But I agree. I think cheater recall in this matchup is very nice because you can't really punish that easily on the turret, right? I mean, you can try, but the amount of leads you're gonna get is not a lot. And then on the fourth wave, if you crash it like third wave, the fourth wave isn't going to be a wave that you can easily punish on, right? And also if you push up on 4th wave, you're like really far up, enemy jungle can actually look for gank mid, right? So I think a cheater recall for sure really good. And then like you said, you want to slow push, like slow push wave 1, slow push wave 2, right? And then 3rd wave we crash. We crash, right? And then we take a base. And then when we come back, waves should be bouncing towards us. I'm not sure if Tryndamere is able to push it in fast enough, but even if he is, you should be able to hold the minions, stop him from getting a base off, and then you're sitting in lane with a good wave state for you that maybe your Fi can gank on, maybe your Pi can gank on, and you will be an item up, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So with... Oh, yeah? Go ahead.
I mean, all I remember is that like this plan didn't happen. So I think I respected him too much, and then a random bot lane fight appeared.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, right? But that's why we're doing the coaching, so we can review what we should be doing and what went wrong, right? And adaptability is, of course, a big thing in solo queue as well. Random things can happen all the time. So quickly for the buy, right? First buy, of course, longsword. If we want to go static shift first, is really good. Then refill pot. If our goal is to cheat the recall and we know we can do it, refill is good, right? Because it means we won't lose out on any pots. Like even if we use them, we just get them back from the reset. So for sure, goodbye. Let's just go at a bit faster speed.
Yeah.
Okay, random invade happening. I mean, not much for us to do here, of course. Like, they're moving there doesn't really do anything, right?
Yeah.
Only thing, normally what you want to do, I don't know if you know this, and you're just not doing it because we have the ward here and we have Seraphine here, right? But typically speaking, when you're covering on mid, you want to cover this and you want to cover the same like on the other side. That's like down here, right? Because that way they can't like sneak past into this bush and go on the person that's covering your jungle entrance. And same on bot side, obviously. But yeah, in this case, you don't need to because of the positioning of our team and the fact that we saw them on invade, right?
Yeah.
Also, one more thing that normally melee champs like to do on mid is, since they don't really want to hit wave level 1 anyway, they can go like this and do a ramp ward here to spot out our jungle pathing. Like if you pass like this, you will see it, right? Now of course we saw the Tryndamere bot side here, but what you sometimes see is when there's like a melee versus range matchup or one of the two champs like wants to get pushed in anyway. You see it a lot, for example, or I don't know about a lot, but you see it for example when people play Xante and they don't want to contest first wave. They walk here and ward like over here, like I said. So it's something to look out for as well. If you don't see him, you can cover here, and if he goes for the ward, you can get like 3 autos on him.
Or at least spot the ward so my jungler can adapt.
Yeah, for sure, that as well, right? If you see the ward, it's also good, right? So right now, wave arrives, right? The one thing we want to do, and that should be on our mind, is we want to slow push, right? So the way to achieve this, obviously, if he doesn't hit the wave, we don't have to hit the wave at all, right? That way, this wave, if we only last hit, it's going to be on our side for as long as possible. It will stack with the next, and then we have time to stack it with the third as well. We don't really want to hit. Another thing we want to avoid, and what you see a lot of melee mid laners try to do as well. I don't know if you played against. Sorry?
I don't want to auto him because then his
exactly.
minions aggro on me.
Exactly, right? If you just give him one auto, your minions are gonna, or other way around, if you give him one auto, his minions are gonna aggro you, which means your wave is gonna push, right?
Yeah.
Which is something we also don't want because we want to go as slow as possible. Now the only thing is, of course, that if the Tryndamere starts walking up and starts just whacking away at the wave, we can't ignore him, right? We actually have to punish him. So we want to find like good autos on him when he walks up to auto. We don't really want to do too much unless he's like so far up we can get like all our health blades in and like get a passive proc. Then it's a good trade, of course. But if it's just one auto, we don't want to. So here already, right? We do 2 autos, put this minion at half health, which we don't need to, right? We just want to last it. And now you will see as well, like even if we stop hitting now, you're gonna see that on wave 2 you're gonna be pushing quite hard already, right?
Mhm.
I'll just speed it up a bit more. And here as well, what we're doing. So if we want to actually punish him for last hitting minions, we have to sync it in a way that we don't have to last hit the minion when he's walking up for his last hits, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the first place, we shouldn't be looking too much to deny him on wave 1, because our objective isn't to poke him out of lane. Our objective is to get a good cheat recall off, right? Getting damage in on Tryndamere, we're not going to get lethal threat unless he really fucks up, right? Because he has D shield and Q. I don't know his runes, but
Probably has second vent.
yeah, I mean, probably, right? But even if he doesn't, D shield and his Q already make it that it's hard for us to really get lethal pressure on him unless he's like taking too much free damage. So for sure, what we want to do is we want to just look for our own last hits, right? Not really punish. But if we're punishing, we have to sync it, because as you can see, we can't get the auto win on the minion that he walks up for. Yeah, and because we're pushing
right now
yeah.
on this wave, I should probably just crash second because I pushed the first one too far.
I mean, you could, like, what you can try to do is crash second wave and then make this wave bounce. So we don't want to hard shove it right now, because if we hard shove it right now, the wave is going to die under his third before the third wave comes mid. And if that happens, then the wave is just going to be even in the middle again, right? So what we would want, if we indeed, like you say, we already push too hard and we can't crash on third, what we would want is to push this wave in a way that this wave bounces to us. Then on a third wave, it's gonna sit like here, right? The wave's gonna sit here.
Yeah.
And then on the fourth wave, our jungle, or like when he tries to crash, on the fourth wave, our jungle can look for a gank, right? But I think in this case, it's really hard to gank a Tryndamere, right? So it shouldn't be the game plan in the first place, obviously. But yeah, if something happens to your wave and you can, like, you have to adapt, you could adapt like that for sure. Yeah, and here, this is what I mean with he's just walking up and whacking the minions, right? So he's not allowed to do what he's doing. When he does this, we can click forward with him. First of all, we shouldn't be this far back. So if we go back a bit, right, we don't have to be all the way back here, especially because we know Lee's top side, right? We saw him cross like here. We see him. Did he go bot side? My bad.
He starts Raptors. That's
Then,
why I was like
yeah, no,
positioning.
it's just me. Yeah, it's just me grieving. But yeah, we know where he is, right? That's the point. We know he's going like towards here, right? So we can hug this side like you're doing. So you were doing it correct, obviously, right? We can hug this side safely and know that we don't get ganked by Lee, right? So when we go here, right? Here we don't have to click, like these clicks, we don't have to be here. We can just walk up with the wave. This guy can never do anything on us, right? If he starts to walk up too far, like we don't have to run into him, of course, but if he starts to walk up too far, we can safely hit him whilst being able to just back off if he is in, right? And then after he is in, you can run with him towards where he's running away, and then you get a lot of free autos because you're a range champ, right? And he's a melee champ. So for sure, right here.
I respect him like too much for some reason.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? If you're not comfortable on the champion or on the matchup, but here we're allowed to just be here and just pressure him, right? We don't have to, like, if we are here, he's not allowed to walk up for anything. We don't have to give him any respect, right? And especially what he's doing here, because he's griefing really hard. If we walk up right now, right? If we click up right now and just start autoing, we can get our Hill of Bait procs in, we can get our Q in, and when we hit level 2 on this and look for W, if we hit the W, he's going to be chunked even more. He's going to go down to like this HP. If we hit everything, right? If we hit him with 3-4 autos, Q and W, he's going to take a lot of damage. Yeah, and like, I mean, we already talked about this, right? But like clicks like these, there's no reason to click back. We just click forward with him, how we want to do the trade, right? We click forward with him. So quickly here, right? So here we just hit. So this hit is good. Then we click like here, click forward, hit him again, click forward again, hit him again, click forward again. right? And we just walk with him. We
Yeah.
walk in this line with him towards his safety, which is his turret, to get each free auto in. And obviously, if he ease in on us, right? If he ease in on us, I mean, he's eating into a big wave. You're level 2, so first of all, you would just win. But after he ease in and he starts walking out, you just do the same again. You just walk with him,
Yeah.
right? If he's walking like this, you walk like this and weave in autos in between. And then he's going to lose all his HP.
I should like walk up here again and
Yeah.
to hit him.
Yeah, for sure. We just want to, I mean, we just want to abuse the fact that we are playing a strong early range champ and he's playing a melee champ, right? And the way we abuse it, if it's not by going for cheater, is by doing it like that. And then here as well, so an easy way to kind of look at where enemy jungle can be is looking at your jungle as a reference, right? So our jungle did red Crux and is on like it's gonna be on Raptors now, which means even if Lee Sin does like pixel perfect clear, he's not gonna be level 3 and on mid, right? And the level 2 Lee Sin will not be able to kill us. We can always walk out to safety towards our jungle, right? And then we win the 2v2. That's my bet. That's something we should talk about as well, whether or not we win the 2v2. Really important, right, on mid lane. But in this case, I think early on you for sure win the 2v2 because your champ is really strong. So yeah, we're always allowed to walk out. So when we crash this wave, we don't have to be scared yet, right? This is not the timer that Lee Sin should be mid on. And even if he is, we have Ghost, we have Flash, and we have a jungle like pretty close by. So we should always be fine. So what that means is that on this wave, we are allowed to just walk up and punish him when he tries to go for last hits. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Also, you're walking now towards bot side, right? Which I assume is to place a ward.
Yeah, I'm going to.
But because we know Lee Sin is clearing like this, right? He's clearing 3 bot camps first, and then either looking for bot gank or to transition into top side. As long as we respect the timer that he can be mid on, which should be about the same timer that Fi crosses like this, right? A bit later, like when Fi is on Wolves, that's the timer we have to respect for a bit. As long as we respect that timer, there's no way Lee Sin is gonna be mid from bot side, right? So we don't actually have to ward on the bot side of the map because we kind of have the info already, right? That he's there right now, but that he shouldn't be there for too long. Also, when we place this ward, it's just for this ward specific thing. We want to place it like on the edge. The easiest way is to just click here, because if you place it too much in the middle, like I don't know if this ward is barely seeing this still or not, but this edge is like the sneaky edge, you know. If you place this ward too far in the bush, someone can come like this and sneak into your bush here, and then this ward doesn't spot it. So try to always, when placing this ward, and when placing wards in general, right, try to be mindful of where the vision actually is. Something you could consider if you don't really use your ward like in like spots where you really need to quickly place a ward anyway, is to take it off smartcast so that you always see the vision line when you're placing the ward.
I mean, I sometimes do it that I just click on it and like put it in on the edge of the bush. For example, when it's like the bush next to the mid wall, or when I'm placing like behind that wall, that's like a corner when you can see both river and almost raptor camp. I do it there, but I just didn't do it there.
I mean, it's good, right? It's just a good habit to have. There's no reason not to in spots like these.
Yeah.
And min-maxing vision is like actually a big thing in spots like these, because, like I said, if you miss that wall, it's like kind of the bait ward, you know, where you think you have vision, but you don't actually have vision. So yeah. So now we come back to this wave, right? Wave is, I mean, a bit on his side, which means it will slow push to us eventually if we don't hit it both, right? But it's mostly an evil wave state that slowly slow pushes us, right? What do you think the objective is now in the lane, and what do you think we should do to get to that objective?
I mean, I would probably say that right now I should just match his auto attacks and like, or just last it if he doesn't push that much, and like let it slowly push to me. Because it's kind of hard for me to shove this wave, and even if I just like fast shove this wave, it doesn't really do anything. Because
Mm-hmm.
Y will continue to full clear bot lane. So I
Yeah.
think I would just let him push and last it.
Yeah. And then eventually, what is the wave state we want to get to? Ideally, right? Ideally.
I mean, ideally, I want to set up a freeze
Yeah,
from
for
this.
sure, for sure. Ideally, when the wave state is like this, right? Since he's playing a melee champ, he has to overextend for CS. So if wave is like this, right? If this is the line of the wave, it makes it much easier for your Pyke and for your Fi to look for a mid gank, right? And
Yeah.
as we talked about briefly in Champ Select as well, because we're playing, or in loading screen review thingy as well, because we're playing Pyke bot, right? Pyke Seraphine, they should have an easy time finding roams for Pyke because Seraphine doesn't need Pyke around all the time and they have good wave clear. So especially on reset timers for Seraphine, Pyke can just run mid, look for a play, right?
Yeah.
Right now, another good thing to note is this guy hasn't been out to ward yet, right? So
Yeah, he was
when
in vision.
we are playing with champions that want to gank, it's very good if we can track where they actually ward, because then our champions can obviously avoid, like our teammates can avoid the wards and get a good gank off mid, right? Uh, and it's easier for you to do it than it, of course, is for your jungle or for your support to do it
I
around your lane.
I usually try to track when they were. By the way, I feel like here kicks my typical solo queue ADHD, and I
Hmm.
just start hitting the wave
Yeah,
for
yeah,
no
yeah.
fucking reason.
I mean, yeah, I mean for sure it's the thing. I mean, I do it as well, right? When you autopilot, it's like the standard thing is to hit the wave. So it's good to just be conscious about what you want to do with the wave, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for sure, on this wave, just let them push in. Because also, if we push up, right, and you probably realize this already, we're not going to achieve anything with these minions because we're going to be busy hitting the wave. We can't really threaten lethal in him anyway, and we can't really get a good reset timer off on this wave either. So the value that you get from pushing the wave is very low, right? Um, so yeah, for sure, landing at pushing is good. And yeah, you already said it, right? These autos aren't helpful towards the goal of letting him push. Obviously, what we also want to avoid is that he pushes really hard, right? Because then we either have to tank up a huge cannon wave, which we can't, or the wave is going to crash, right? So if he starts hitting, first of all, we want to hit him, right? When he starts hitting, to punish him for hitting, because he's not allowed to just stand there and hit. And then we can afterwards hit the minions as well to make sure the wave doesn't push into us too hard. We just want it to slowly push into us, right?
Yeah.
I'll just up the speed a bit again. Yeah, so here already the exact thing I said, right? He's last hitting minions like this for free, kind of, and we're showing a lot of respect, right? We know right now Lee, if we remember, right? Lee was on bot side, and we have this ward, right? So there's no way Lee Sin, unless Lee did like crazy pathing, like this, then walk around, go to stop side, right? But even in that case, as long as we hug like this side, like hug towards this side, right? With this ward we have, the only pathing he has is to jump over here and gank. So just don't hug too close, and we should always be fine, right?
Yeah.
So when he's walking up like this, we don't respect. And now we even see Lee on bot, right? So now we don't have to respect at all, right? There's no threat on us. We have 2 pots up, and we want this wave to come into us anyway. So if he like ease forward on us, we're happy, right? Because he's gonna push this wave towards us and put himself in a bad scenario because he's gonna trade HP and then have a bad wave state afterwards. So we don't have to respect what he's doing, right? And here for us, this is really fine, right? And you can even see like he E's in and then he does nothing because we have E, right? Now we see Lee bot. We can just kite away, and then when he starts running, we do the thing we talked about, right? Where you just run with him. So right here, he starts running away. Now we don't have to run anymore. There's enough distance between us. You can auto space him now, right? You just sit here. I mean, you have to wait your E, obviously, but afterwards you hit him, move up, hit him again, move up again, and then whenever you start, either he starts getting behind his minions, or he starts getting away too far, we can W him, right, to finish the trade off. But here for sure, with how he's playing, we can chunk him again to like half health, and then if we hadn't touched wave either, right? If we had the wave coming into us still, and we chunk him, we set up the freeze, and this guy is not able to lane anymore because he pushed it himself, right? Yeah, and you kind of do it here, right? You kind of do it here, which is good. It's just the execution is a bit sloppy, right? We could do it, or you could do it, sorry, a bit better, but. Now, on this wave, when wave state is like this, right? What do you think the objective is on a lane, and how do we achieve it?
I mean, right now I should probably just crash, because like the wave state is, it's slow pushing to him, and I don't really want to slow push into him. So I think I should just crash the wave. And I can also see Vi on bot lane doing something in the river, so I can probably expect some bot lane river fight. So it's good if I try to hard shove this wave ASAP and then move.
Yeah, so there's two things going on here, right? The first thing is your wave is slow pushing into him, but this is the fourth wave, right? So this is wave 4. Wave 5 is not a cannon wave, right? So if you were to base on wave 4 and he pushed in wave 5, then it's not the worst for him, right? I'm not 1,000% sure that Tryndamere is able to push fast enough, but this wave, we are pretty late on the crash already, right? Normally, if you want to crash on a wave, you want to do it like as fast as possible, but because we have a low like amount of minions, this wave is not going to push super fast, meaning that there is a chance that he gets like a good recall off as well, right? So I think purely for the isolated 1v1, right now you have time to stack the next wave as well without this crashing if he last hits cannon. Like if this cannon dies, right? If this cannon dies, then I think you have the time to just slow push it with the next. So we crash wave 4, wave 5, and then push it in, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, what you're saying is also correct, that if there's a bot lane fight, because it's solo queue, right? You see 5 running like this. If there's a big fight happening here, it's good to move, right? So in a spot like this, what I would want you to do is pan your camera over to like bot to get a quick read on what's going on. Because if you see, oh, this is looking like it's going to be fight for sure, I want to move there, right? I want to impact the fight, then yes, it's really good, right? Push this wave. You don't even have to take all the CS. You just have to make sure that you're not losing too much. You can kill like the melees and then run. And then you can impact the fight, right? If you see, oh, I don't have to do anything there, you don't have to play to help bot, right? And you can play selfishly for your own wave. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is why there's people saying like F keys are so important, right? And it doesn't have to be F keys. Of course, F key is like really fast. But if you're fast with your mouse, you can also just pan over here, just quickly look and see what's going on. It's really OP. Because now as well, you see Fire already kind of walking away, right? But ideally, before we even do like this, like right now, so right here, like before we do this auto tech, we kind of already want to know whether or not we're pushing next wave, right? Because if we don't hit this, we're able to go slow enough to crash on wave 5. And like we can already pen the camera here, right? We don't have to look at our screen right now. So, but let's see what ends up happening. Okay, this guy doing the same type of trading again. And now we see the fight is actually starting, right? But we're not actually moving at all because, I mean, the point I just made, we're not watching it, right?
I mean, I saw it happening, but I wanted to at least get the melee minions out. Because, like, I know the fight is happening, but, like, for me, it feels so bad to just, like, leave a whole wave.
I mean, it does, kind of, right? But if you watch right now, like, right now, right? Of course, you're, like, kind of in a trade, so it's hard to do it now. But hypothetically, if you watch right now, and if you get really good at it, you can do it during a fight as well. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Nemesis stream, right? But he's someone that frequently like presses F keys. If you watch right now at this, you can already make a judgment call, right? What do I have to do? And it's like you just make a quick judgment call. And if the judgment call is okay, I want to move to fight. Sure, you don't want to drop these minions, ideally, right? But even in that case, you can play to burst down these minions. Just Q, throw all your autos at the minions, right? Clear them as fast as possible, and then start moving. Because if you see now, one auto attack on Tryndamere, we keep walking forward, we don't hit. So we lose at least 2 auto attacks on the wave, right? And then our next Q as well, if we watch this Q, I mean, we don't Q, right? We don't Q, and now we Q, right? In this time, if instead of, like right now, instead of doing this hit and then like waiting time, we could hit once more Q, wave, like melees are gone, we start moving, right? So at like 307, we could start moving to the fight.
Yeah.
And instead, we don't really move at all, right? It's 10 seconds later that we start moving. And now the fight is already done, right? I mean, not done, but like kind of done. Like your impact is going to be very limited. Yeah. And then we die, and our wave state is also not necessarily good, right? Like if Tryndamere, wanted, he could have even left these minions just based, not push next wave, and wave is gonna stay on his side, right? It's not gonna be like eventually it will slow push to you with that wave state, but he has the choice, right, to do either, and you're gonna lose even more CS. And it's all of the back of the fact that we, or not all of the back, but like it's of the back that right now we're not watching the fight, so we move really late, and then because we move really late, this is the state of the fight we arrive to. Whereas if we are 10 seconds earlier, we would be here now, right? And then Tryndamere is like maybe behind us a bit more, but Tryndamere obviously doesn't add nearly as much as you do, and you're gonna be there first as well. And like imagine, I mean you get this right, but imagine you are in the fight right now. This is suddenly looking way different, right?
Right, the fight would be winning instead of losing.
Yeah, I mean, even if you aren't winning the fight, at least they will run away. Your bot gets to catch the wave, right? This wave they get to catch, and enemies have to respect, right? So for sure, it would be like a way better scenario, right? And then now we die, and we get back to lane, right? So when we're walking back to lane, right, we can already think about, okay, this Tryndamere is staying. What does that mean? Like for the wave, I mean, sorry. What does it mean for the wave that Tryndamere is staying right now?
And he will need to push the next one as well, and then he will probably look to base.
Yeah, for sure.
Depends
I mean,
how big the wave it is, then maybe I can do something with the wave.
I mean, first of all, what we want to do is, again, it's really important to get information. Information is really OP, right? We can base everything off the information we get. So we want to pan our camera over, see what he's doing with the wave, right? If he's like hard hitting it versus barely last hitting, it's 2 different things, right? But if this guy is staying, it probably means he wants to push in this wave, right? Which is wave 6, so it's the cannon wave.
Yeah.
Which is going to take a while for him. Which means when we get back, either he's not fast enough, right, to push it in. So maybe we can look with our jungle to punish him. So if we're looking right now and we see, okay, this guy's not going to be fast enough to push it in, you can already tell your jungle, hey, I want to gank mid, right? Tell the jungle, call him over to come. Look for a mid gank, right? Look for mid gank like this or this. He has no flash because he just used it. Might result in you getting a kill, and then the wave is frozen for him, right? And it's really bad for Tryndamere. Alternatively, if he is fast enough, we can already start thinking about, okay, what will happen to our wave after, right? Because the wave will crash into you, and then you have the choice, do I want to last hit minions as fast as possible to not make it a bounce, to make it even wave state? Or do I want to last it slow and start a slow push, right? It's 2 different things you can do. So right now, and you do pan your camera over, it's really good, right? So yeah, right here, right? When I see this, and we have home guard as well, I don't think he's going to be able to crash on his own in time. I might be a bit off about that, right? But I don't think he's going to be able to crash on his own on time, which means you could call your jungle over right now. Of course, if your jungle doesn't come because he wants to clear camps, that's his choice. You can't make the choice for him, right? But you can tell him, yo, mid lane no flash and has to crash, we can gank, right? So it's for sure something. Um, it's a window, right, where you could maybe get a lead and win the lane off. Because if he gets fucked over here, this Tryndamere, his lane is kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going even slower, so you can crash on next, or he wants to crash on next wave. So you know now, okay, he wants to crash this wave, right? He wants to crash wave 7. So on wave 7, you can call your jungle to mid, he comes, and then boom, he can't crash the wave, he's stuck in lane, you have Noon Quiver, he has D shield, right? And then wave state is bad for him, and you can just 1v1 get a big lead out of it. Because what this guy is doing right now with his wave is not good for him, right? He's not allowed to crash this on his own. Also, I was just about to say, when he's doing it like this, the only thing we have to be wary of is enemy jungle coming right now. Because if we die on a slow push, it's the opposite, right? It's like disaster for us because we're gonna lose so much. So right now, all we have to do is just respect a bit because it's not gonna crash on this wave anyway. And when this pushes up and the wave is here, even when enemy Lee is here, we can look to punish him. So kind of Lee has to walk up and help him push, right? If the wave is like this. So on a wave set like this, we just need to wait. We need to not walk up and commit right now, especially if this guy is walking up, because he knows, okay, 1v1, I don't win, right? There's no way he gets onto you and gets a good trade. So if he's walking up, it's really suspicious, right? So we have to be wary of enemy Lee.
And as you said, I should probably like ping my jungler here because I know he will have bad wave state on next wave and he might be gankable.
Exactly,
But
right? Exactly.
There's something I like struggle with in competitive as well. I'm not vocal about my lane states.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why, but even when I see like I will have bad wave state, I'm like, yeah, I can fix it alone instead of saying jungler come.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? You don't want to burden your jungle, but it's a team game, right? So sometimes you have to. And for sure, if your jungle's here, right? I mean, obviously these two minions, you can't punish them because of Lee Sin. But after he kills these two minions, wave's going to be like here. If your jungle is mid when the wave is here, and you have Noon Quiver, and this guy has no sums, then for sure you can fight, right? For sure you can fight.
Yeah.
And then it's suddenly really good. The bot river fight suddenly turns like into a good fight for you. And yeah, I mean, you can see enemy jungle, he does this to get the wave in for his Tryndamere because he knows, okay, if the wave is like this, it's like disaster for my Tryndamere, right? So right now, right, if we watch minimap, you see Pyke is ping on the way mid, right? Do you think we can set up a gank for him? And if so, how do we set up the gank for him?
I mean, it's possible, but the wave is kind of big, so I need to kill like as many minions as possible. Because if the wave is this big, he can kill us 1v2 in the wave, probably. So
I mean, I don't think he kills 1v2 in the wave, but yeah, for sure, 2v2 they win, right?
We can't kill him.
Yeah,
or
for
at least
sure.
just comes back. But so I will just like auto attack minions and try to kill as many of them, or just damage as many of them, so I kill them with Q then.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it, right? The other is to trade on him and try to hold wave, but both are pretty risky. So I would say right now, one important thing is of course having info on Lee. So if I go back a bit, right? So this guy just used this Lee just used Warthog and Q, right? And now the Q expired. And Tryndamere, I'm not sure. Yeah, he used E here, so he probably doesn't have E yet either, right? And no W. So right now, what we could do if we really want to set up the gank, right? After this Q from Lee Sin expires, of course, we don't want to walk up with this Q on you. After it expires, we walk here while looking for outs on the wave to thin it and place our ward here. because then we know if Lee Sin is sticking around or not, right? And if Lee Sin is
Yeah.
not sticking around, we can actually look for the gank. If not, just call off the gank because it's really, really hard to gank. And if it goes wrong, your lane is really doomed, right? Because you're gonna lose all the CS if the gank goes wrong.
Mm-hmm. Like I was a bit scared to go for a ward because Tryndamere's E gets reduced cooldown each time he autos. I don't
Yeah,
know
he
if it's
crits. Yeah, I know.
and he has like full rate, so he has 40% crit. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean for sure, right? For
I
sure.
didn't know if he gets E again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure either, right? But in case he doesn't, it's good to walk
Yeah.
up and ward here, right? And even if he does, Lee Sin has no spells, so if we walk like this, kind of, right? If we walk like this, just space it so that he can't be in E range, right? And we get this ward, Lee Sin can't go on us because he just used spells, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously afterwards we insta run out. We don't want to get Lee Sin Q on our head. But the safest play is to just not gank here because they use their jungler's time to get a crash on mid. So if we respect this crash, jungle has wasted time and we we don't get the lead, but at least enemy jungles wasted time, right? So it's not like we literally gain nothing. And here as well, as you were saying, right? If we thin this wave a bit more, it's easier to do the gank. Even though we damage him here, right? He can just walk away anyway, which makes it like kind of hard. So yeah, we do it here, right? We do like some hits on him, and now thinning the wave, killing these two minions is really good, right? Even if they go down to third, it's really fine because you see now these minions aren't aggroing you, and he still has to walk up to hit these minions, right? He has to clear these minions, so now we're allowed to hit him. So we first clear the minions so that we're opened up to hit him now, which is good by you, right? Which is good. And this guy is like really greedy, and Lee Sin also kind of fucked up because Lee Sin had to stay to make sure the crash goes in, right? Yeah, and this works out perfectly, right? Which, I mean, it's the reason I'm telling you want this ward is because if this Lee Sin stays around here, they can look to turn it in the wave, right? But Lee Sin, even though we don't have the info, he just walked away and went to do scuttle without finishing the crash, right? They had to finish this crash together to actually give Tryndamere a reset. So that's a mistake on their part. Like right here, Lee Sin does this. Now he has to stay around to crash the wave. He doesn't, and Tryndamere doesn't respect Rom. And you also clear these minions properly, right? Which is good. So we end up getting the kill.
Yeah, like if Listen was here, then it would be kind of flippy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just healed me now, then Pike has to E on me, and then it's like, yeah.
Also, if Lee Sin is here, he's not gonna run and E like this. He's gonna walk like this. Lee Sin is gonna be here. This guy saves his E, just starts smacking Pike. Pike can never hit his E, right? Like right here, if Lee Sin is in this bush, Lee Sin just W's forward. They start smacking Pike. And you can't really walk up, right? Because if you walk up, Lee Sin hits Q, Tryndamere E's in, you're dead, right? So Pike has to go out, and then you don't end up in a good spot. And also, the hard part is you don't want to trade recall, right? That's the reason why this is kind of awkward. Because if they do this and then they crash this, you still have to catch these minions, right? And your wave is gonna bounce, so it's gonna slow push to them. But you don't want to stay because you're like gonna be half health. But you also don't want to base because you have nothing to buy, right? So it's a disadvantageous spot for you if it has like that. But now, because we end up getting the kill, of course, it's really good. Now, we get this kill, right? What do you think we want to do with the wave?
Just shove the next one, go base.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing complicated, right? Pike can fire here, so no risk of Lee ganking you, and Pike can help you on the wave as well. If we look at bot wave, right, there is no wave, right? It's like even wave state. Seraphine doesn't need help right now. Pike has time to help you shove, and then still go bot, so you can just push this. Also, right here, minor detail, but you can just pop a potion, right? Make it a bit harder for, and it's already early. It's not now. It's like when you're doing this, you can already pop a potion. Make it harder for them to turn on you and easier for you to tank the wave, right? So yeah, we should push this. Nothing should happen. Only risky thing here is Pike bases before the wave goes in. So theoretically Lee could have held, health, right? But he doesn't end up doing it, which is good for us. Now, what do we want to do when we get back to lane?
Probably the Tryndamere will start pushing this wave to me.
Mm-hmm.
And depends, like, I'm not sure if this is canon. It should be.
I mean, I didn't count properly.
Yeah,
Not sure,
but
but yeah, it is
it
canon. Yeah, it is canon.
Depends. If he can like shove it, then I'll just toss it in under tower and see. But if he's like slow pushing it, maybe we can try to repeat gank. But my Vi is basing and Pike has to run bot.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably just let him shove this wave and then last it under tower.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't feel like I can threaten freeze 1v1 on this level.
yeah, for
Anymore.
sure. Like at this point, I mean, for sure, a freeze is the best scenario we have for our individual 1v1 laning, right? We have the freeze in front of a turret. Whenever he walks up for CS, we can hit. But he can choose to tank it up and push it in, and then we don't actually get kill threat because when he's 6, we can't go for an all-in, right? By ulting in. So we can for sure still look for small leads in terms of health, right? Small trades with Hail of Blades, with W cooldown, get like favorable spot for ourselves. But 1v1, it's hard to generate a big lead right now. So what should be our goal in the lane?
Not sure.
I mean, our goal, right? We are playing a hard scaling champ, right? Our roams aren't the greatest, but we have some tools that can play with you on mid. So the way we generate a lead is, first of all, we want to make sure we don't drop any CS, right? That's priority number one. Priority number one for us is don't drop XP, don't drop CS, because we want to get to our items. That's when we're strong. And then objective number 2 is, because we can't really get the lead 1v1, we want to make sure that we are able to play with our team whenever necessary. So that means we don't want to be, let's say there's like a Herald fight, we don't want to be freezing, right? Let's say our jungle wants to go for an invade, we don't want to be freezing, right? Or alternatively, let's say our Pyke and our Fi want to gank mid, we do want to be freezing because we want to make it easier for them to gank, right? So it kind of depends on what your team wants to do, what our objective is, right? But main objective number 1 is don't drop any XP or CS. That's really important here. So when we get back to lane for this objective to be possible, what should we be looking to do?
Just just let him push and then last it and then adapt on next wave base of what my team wants to do.
Yeah, for sure. And we could even look, because we're playing Cookie's double pot, right? So, and we even have red buff now, which makes punishing him if he walks up a bit easier as well. So we could even look to, if he doesn't hard shove fast enough, on this wave, set up a freeze, right? We can hold the wave if needed, but it should only be for a little bit because the next wave is already coming. And then we can hold. If he is fast enough to push, of course, it's going to go into a turret, it's going to bounce. Do we want to, if it bounces, right, do we want to set up a slow push, or do we want to try to get the wave to push in hard and get an even wave state?
I mean, slow pushing might be a value because of Drake being up, but slow pushing against Trent Lee Sin right now is way more dangerous because I have no sums.
So. I mean, I think you're half right, half wrong, because this guy doesn't want to reset, right? He just came off a reset as well. He died. So I think if you hard shove right now, you have to crash the wave immediately. If you look at your team right now, Fi is in base, right? Fi is in base. Pyke is on bot, and he has to catch the next wave. He doesn't want to drop too much XP. So if we were to push hard now and try to crash the wave, our team shouldn't be in position to help us. And if enemy leads there, it's a scary crash, right? They can hold, they can set up a freeze, which requires our team to help you out to fix it, right? Alternative, we set up a slow push. Our team should be, right? Solo queue, so it might not happen, but they should be in a position to help you crash that mid wave, and then you use the slow push to actually do something on the map, right? Because if you crash that slow push and you know you're not gonna get ganked, maybe you can look for an invade and wrap the camp. Maybe you can look for a bot gank. Maybe you guys can look for Drake. It depends, right? On bot situation, jungle situation. But for sure, we can look to do something. So right here, what should we do with the wave? Do you think?
Just slowly lazit it, so the next one bounces and
I mean,
starts slow pushing.
we could also look to E forward, hold this, right? Hold these minions, and then set up a freeze, right? That's the two options we have. We either let it bounce and slow push it, or we run here and set up the freeze. I think purely 1v1 for your lane, setting up the freeze is better. Because we are quite strong. Tryndamere only has boots, right? And D-shield, of course. Like he has good sustain, but he only has boots, D-shield, refill. And if we set up the freeze, he can never fight us, and we can try to punish him, and maybe look for like a mid gank as well when Pyke is freed up or Fi is able to move. So I think looking for the freeze here is best. But if we don't look for the freeze, we want to get the slow push into them. Also, if we are freezing and Tryndamere is roaming, he's gonna lose a lot of CS, right? He's gonna bleed all his CS.
I shouldn't Q like this. I should just W the minion.
I mean, no. I think this Q is good because the thing is, what happens if you let this wave, and it's because you're playing mid lane, right? And side lane is a bit different because the lane is a bit longer. But if you're letting this mid wave sit here for long, the next wave is gonna run into you, and it's actually gonna hard crash into your tower, right? The frontline minions, and you already kind of see it if we go a bit ahead. The frontline minions here are going in, which means this wave is going to push really hard. So if we want to set up a slow push, you actually want to clear these minions faster, right? You want to make sure the next wave doesn't crash. So for that purpose, we actually want to use our W and our autos and then hold this next wave a bit, right? Hold it a bit right here. And then the wave is like this, right? The wave is like this line. It shouldn't be in tower because tower range is like this, right? We have it like here, and then it's good. Then the wave is going to slow push, and we might be able to use the slow push. But I think, again, the best course of action would have been here to just E forward, drag like the castles and the cannon, and then you set up a freeze.
Like I didn't even think about that I can freeze in this spot. I just like didn't spot it.
I mean, that's why we review, right? So next time you're in a spot like this, you recognize it and you can think, oh, do I want to freeze or do I want to do something else? And now our wave's pushing hard, right? So I push this in. With no info on Tryndamere. So right now, because we don't have any info, like this is all dark, right? We should always be walking the safe way. We should never walk like this, right? Because the only play they have, they're not on bot, right? Because if we go back a bit,
like my idea here, was that they killed Drake, and I saw Tryndamere on ward, and I saw getting assist on Drake. So it's like, okay, he's probably coming from Drake to mid, so I should be the first one in that bush, and then I can, if like we want to fight, I have decent position to fight, or if he just wants to go mid lane, he has to go around.
Yeah, but for that purpose, better than to walk into the bush is to because if you walk into them, it's not necessarily good, right? Would be to like sit here, because then you can always kite away when they try to go on you, right? And you can still stop them from taking this path, which is the same as if you're in this bush. It achieves the same, except you're not at as much risk, right?
Also, if I walk to the bush, I should have camera on myself or ward it.
Yeah, if you walk to the bush for sure, but I think face checking here is a very greedy play, right? Even if you ward, right? If you're here and you ward, and they're like here, it doesn't necessarily achieve much more, right? And now he's already here, you get like chunked out, which is not a good start to the fight, right? And that's why we die. Because what you're doing, right, is seeing you have move, Aphelios was dead, and your fight Pyke and you together are pretty strong, right? You're pretty strong right now, so you're in a good spot to fight. So what you're doing isn't inherently bad, but you just run in, which was the greedy play, which lets you take a lot of damage before the fight starts, right?
Yeah. And I don't have to do this on Kai'Sa because I have like a really long range forward.
And then this Q misses, which I mean it's a good. I don't know if it's potential. It's good to sidestep, but if he throws it a bit more to the left, I don't even think you can sidestep it, right? Because you're slowed. So I think if this guy hits Q on you, you're kind of just fucked, right?
Yeah, it would be fucked.
And then the fight afterwards, I mean, there's not too much to say, right? You can ult away a bit further. Like here, you can ult all the way here, right? Just ult as far away as possible. Maybe with the plant you even live. And then
I feel
another
like I
thing,
started ulting before I got a mark on Listen.
it's probably because you tried to ult
I did.
already, but you're
Yeah.
CC'd. So this cancels your ability to ult. And then afterwards, you were already clicking it and you just insta ult like this, right?
Yeah.
And
And
then
also,
another thing, yeah,
if I ult like to the plant, I can take the plant, and
yeah,
Seraphim can maybe get to me as well.
exactly right. You
Because
might live. I'm not 100% sure you would because Tryndamere is ult, obviously, and you guys use CC on the other champs already. But you for sure live for a longer time, right? So it's always better. Another thing on Kai'Sa is I don't know if you know this, but your ult is an auto attack reset, and also you can cast W while mid-air in your ult.
yeah,
So
I know the W thing. I don't know the auto
yeah.
reset thing.
So here ideally we here we're CC'd, right? Here the CC ends. So we ult like this, and then W the Lee Sin. That would be like optimally played the fight, right? But yeah, the main important thing is that when they take Drake like this, Tryndamere, of course, coming to mid, you know it. You want to not run into them before your team is there, right? If your team was
Yeah.
already here, it's a different story, right? But even then, you would ward and hit him instead of just running in. But it's a bit different. If your team is here and you ward here and you're standing here, it's fine, right? Alternatively, you stand here, try to bait them onto you, and if they go on you, your team walks up, you take the fight, and you should be able to live with your ult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now we die, we get back to lane. Not much special about this. Like Herald is spawning in like 20 seconds, right? Or like no, I'm dumb. In 50 seconds, right? It's 8 minutes, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm dumb. But yeah, Herald is spawning in 50 seconds. So we don't have to play for it yet. And then we just want to catch this wave. We can't really stop them from crashing this. This would be another wave where we could be calling the team to stop him, but obviously the team already tried and is really low, right? So they can't. We just have to catch the wave. And now he's walking up really greedily, right? And Sheer Trash is behind him, but here we're just allowed to walk up and hit him. He's not able to dive us when we have Ghost up.
Yeah, and he also used ult in the last fight,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he
yeah,
could dive
yeah,
me.
yeah, for sure. But even if he had ult, right? He used ult in last fight, but even if he had ult, there's no way he dives us from full HP with our Ghost up. So he's not allowed to get this plate. Like you are able to literally run him down at this point. When he does this, you just pop Ghost and run him down, and he's dead. But we click back, right? And it's what you said earlier as well. Like you played, you were playing too respectfully when you didn't have to. So on this next wave, what do you think we want to do? Like this one?
Ideally, just crash this one and play Herald.
Yeah, we just want to crash, and I don't think you instantly play Herald. I think you just base because you have static and base, right? So we just crash this wave as fast as we can, and then we base. And if this guy stays, of course, he's gonna be lower health. He's not gonna have spent his gold. We're gonna have a huge lead on him, and we don't have to base. We can stay as well to stop his base, right? That's also fine if he holds the wave or anything. Because he doesn't have the health to really do anything if he holds the wave. So we just have to play a bit patient if he holds wave, and eventually it's gonna be bad for him, right?
Okay, when I went to base.
So yeah, when this, if we know we want to push in base, right? At this spot, we just clear as fast as possible. Clear this, walk up and just hit, right? Perma hit the wave. We're missing autos here. We just perma hit wave, Q instantly. If we can get second Q, if not, you want to wait a bit because Kai'Sa Q is like an execute. So it does more damage to lower minions, but it looks like you know that. And we could have crashed probably like 2 seconds faster. And then we just take the reset and we buy our static.
Here I cancelled my base because it's like not cannon wave, so I don't lose this wave. I just wanted to stay.
Yeah. And now because we stay, right? Because we didn't crash wave instantly and we stay. Now we're actually not that strong for the Herald, right? As you can see, this guy has boots time it, which means he's going to shove you in. You can't really do much about it. And then he's going to be having prior for the Herald fight. Also, this ward, just quickly, it's both not the best ward because this doesn't really give you any info, right? They can still gank like this from this angle, and ideally they want to play topside even because Herald is up, right? So we don't really care about this ward. But also, right now we don't have info on enemy sub. Never mind, we have info on enemy sub, but enemy jungle we don't have info on, right? Enemy sub is bot, but enemy jungle we don't have info on. So if enemy jungle is behind him here, right? And even if enemy jungle isn't behind him here, if he knows where your jungle is, he's just gonna walk up and smack you, right? And win the trade. So yeah, for sure this is a bit of a greedy one to place. Yeah, and you see now, right, this is like this, because we're weaker now, we're not allowed to walk up far. So right now we're still like this is kind of the max distance or the minimum distance, I mean, that we need to have between us. If we click forward now, he's just gonna take an all in and kill us, right? Yeah. Which kind of happens here as well. We walk up, try to out him, and you see how close you are to him. So he just walks up, he's forward, and takes like an all in, and you're just dead here, I'm assuming. Yeah. And that's how Tryndamere champs work, right? We like when you're playing against a champ like Tryndamere, like I mean not a champ. When you're playing against Tryndamere, you need to abuse the timers that you are stronger to generate a lead for yourself. Which in this game we could have done better, right? You could have done a better job, and then now it becomes hard because you're not really allowed to do much anymore. Like he just has prior on you and push you in, and you just have to farm. And this guy for sure could have killed, but he misplayed. Yeah, if he ults him here, he's dead.
I think I pinged this ult.
Yeah. But the point is more this mistake, right? Yeah. That we walk up too far when we don't need to. And we already know we're gonna drop prio, but we also know he can't just dive you when you have ghost up and fires around, right? He can't just go crash the wave and dive in this spot. And then when you have ult up again, it becomes harder for him as well. It's hard for him to do 1v1. Okay, so now we die. Herald should still be playable for your team because Tryndamere no ult and your team is there. So Tryndamere is actually kind of weak. So your team should be strong on Herald right now. And you just run bot, which is fine, right? Objective number 1 is still we just want to farm and we want to get XP, right? That's objective number 1 for you when you're playing a champ like Kai'Sa. So what you're doing is for sure correct to just run bot. Okay, and now team misplays fight, but can't do much about it, right? This guy, is he allowed to stand like this?
No, he's dead.
Yeah, for sure. Right, if you hit W, you go in with ult and you just kill him.
I also waited with the Q to get like isolated damage, but the ranged minions were still in the range.
Yeah. And you see again, you're clicking like here, right? Instead of here. I mean, you're not fully in range for like the first way back, but you want to be looking to always generate as much distance with your ult behind him when you're catching people like this with Kai'Sa. Mm-hmm. Because then they have to run past you, which obviously the more distance they have, like you have towards where they want to run already, the harder it is for them to get away, right? And yeah, now we just auto, and then the moment now I think this auto we don't do like this last one. So we use our Hill of Blades autos, right? So auto, and the last one auto. And now I think you wait out the exhaust. You just run and wait out the exhaust. Run a bit more like this, you know. Wait, fuck, like this. You run like this, because if you're autoing right now, your autos aren't gonna do as much, and you're not gonna walk with him either, right? So he can generate more distance like this. So I think during the exhaust, you just keep on running, and then when the exhaust is out, you auto him again. Because also, if he turns on you, you can start autoing again, of course. Like if he stops running, you can auto again. But now, yeah, you have to use flash to get the kill, and then you end up getting his flash for it as well, because he's like wasting it. but we didn't need to, right? If we generate like max distance with ult and then run with him during the exhaust instead of outwing, then I think you don't have to use flash, because the distance you spend on flash is like a bit more than the distance you would have gained by the other things. But yeah, it's a good punish, right? Not much to say. And then we just shove the wave. What do we want to do now?
Probably just shove the wave, get plates, and go base.
Yeah, for sure, right? And another important thing is we want to watch what's happening on map, because we don't have to look at the screen right now. Nothing is happening. We cleared the wave. We killed the AD, right? So we're allowed to just switch our camera to a different lane and watch. Okay, what's going on? What's gonna happen? And if you see nothing's gonna happen, for sure, you just want to push one plate, get next wave with static and base, right? If you see, oh, they're pushing in and they're gonna run to bot, obviously you can't go for next wave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now at this point, you just want to go to the next wave and push it, because no one should be around, because these guys are mid. Fiora was top. Lee Sin is on Herald, right? Or at least, yeah, Fiora was on top, right? So even if Fiora based, he would not be here right now. And then we push in this wave and we're a bit faster, right? Like after you take the plate, I mean. Just right now, you run to the wave like this and just push it and then go base. And it's the fastest you can be. And we don't want to greed for second plate, because it's gonna... fuck, that's not what I meant to do. We don't want to greed for second plate because it's not gonna happen, right? And another big thing, we're playing static, but static, when you proc it on the tower, only hits the tower, right? It doesn't do the static thing. We almost have static up, so this next auto delays us by a lot, actually, because we have to wait the full static proc to be able to clear the wave. Because this auto, right? This auto, this last one, procced static.
I think I realized this one in the game that I shouldn't auto the tower.
Yeah, I mean, it's specifically with the static thing, right? When you have the energized hit. And that's why taking this wave takes a bit longer, right? And now we should just be looking to back off, because Aphelios will come and we want to spend our gold, right? This plate doesn't give us a better buy. We already had 900 gold, which is enough for M-Tome, right? Or not M-Tome, Phoenix Codex, sorry. So we already know we will have the buy that we want, or Blasting want. I don't remember. Are they both in Nashers? I mean, either way,
They are both.
Yeah, either way, you can buy whatever you want already, right? Probably you want the more AP one, but you can already buy what you want, so you don't need to greed for the plate, right? This plate doesn't give you a spike. So because we greed for this plate, now either we're gonna recall and we're gonna drop minions on the next wave, or we're not gonna recall and we're not gonna spend our 1k gold that we had. Both of which is worse than just recalling, right? And now you say swap back, right? But this timer is really awkward to swap back, because the wave just crashed. Like, you don't want to swap when the wave just crashed. You want to swap after you cleared the wave, which for you was when you just cleared the wave. That timer is the time you want to base, and then you can look for swap, right? Yeah. Oh my! I click again. I'm dumb.
I think a bit back.
Yeah, lay right here. And now, because of this awkward swap, you can see the bot is already crashing the wave without anyone being on it, right? They're already crashing the wave. But also Seraphine has to walk like this, which is awkward. She can get caught in the jungle. They can zone her from turret, right? They can zone her from turret. And you're also dropping CS on mid. So it's like the direct consequence of you not
going base.
Yeah. Also, I'm just playing at higher speed, because now waves, of course, are just, you want to clear the wave and you want to do something, basically, right? You don't want to sit on mid, slow push waves or anything.
I mean, here I moved because I saw Lee Sin and my bot lane doing something, so I was just
yeah. I mean, the move makes sense, right? It's just, if you know you can't do anything, you don't have to move. You want to be on mid wave, clear it as fast as possible. But at this point, the question is, do we want to fight for this dragon or not? That's like the big question. Because if the answer is yes, we should be looking to clear midwave as fast as possible and group up with our team, right? If the answer is no, we should be calling off that we're looking to contest. You should call your team, don't contest, right? Just chill. You go catch midwave, and then you can look topside, right? Your team can just clear camps. You can look topside. Maybe you take fish at topside with your ward that's gonna get up in 12 seconds, right? Maybe you can pressure Fiora on her turret, get like played stop, get a kill top, right? So it's important to realize whether or not we're fighting objective. Now the question is, do we want to fight this objective, right? What do you think with these items?
I think we do, because we have all ults. We have Mythic on Vi. They don't have Mythic on Lee. They don't have item on Trinda.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Aphelios doesn't have item as well.
For sure, I agree. I think right now fighting is good. I mean, Tryndamere is strong, but so are you. Your jungle is stronger, and your bot lane has double ult up, which is really OP in the skirmish, right? So I think for sure you want to fight. So again, if we want to fight, we just want to delete this midwave as fast as possible. After we delete this midwave, we want to safely roam to our team. Important is we do it safely, right? We don't want to run away where we can get caught by enemies, because that will instantly lose us the fight if you die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now we catch midwave. Now we run. I mean, running like this is fine, right? You can always reposition with ult, and you're not giving them the exit for free.
I think here it was really unlucky that I didn't get any kill.
Alright, let's rewatch the fight, because I want to see how you played. So here already, we're playing too scared. We don't have to play scared. Important when you're playing carries, and you're mid laner, so you're gonna play carries a lot, right? Is that that you're mindful of what threats there are on you. In this case, the threat is Lee Sin kick and trash, hook, and flay. Those are the two threats, right? But if you look at the positioning here, as long as you don't get hit by his hook, you're not gonna die. Because your auto attack range is a bit longer than his flay range. And also these guys are on Drake, while this guy's this far up. So his positioning is really, really illegal, right? He should never be allowed to stand like this. So right now we're allowed to just walk up, play with him, and just be confident in your mechanics that you're gonna dodge the hook. Because with your E up, you should be able to dodge the hook. And even worst case, if you don't, and they try to go on you, you have Pyke and Fi right here, right? With CC. Both of them have CC. Fi has ult, Pyke has hook, so they can even peel you, even if you get hit, right? And then right here, the same is for Pyke, right? Why is Pyke not walking up and looking for a hook? Like, he should be threatening as well. And Fi is kind of the only one threatening him right now. Of course, if Fi is the only one threatening, it's not as threatening as if you're all walking up. Because he should be dead right now, right? He should already be, like, instantly bursted. Okay, now Tryndamere goes in, and it's good for you to turn, right? You instantly go on him, but we just want to auto. We don't have to do anything, right? So this E, I mean, you cancel your auto, which is of course bad, but this E is also bad. We don't want to run into him necessarily, because we don't want him to whack us, right? We don't want to die for free. But also, he's not going to be able to run away, right? He just E'd in. So he has to whack someone for E cooldown. If you're all like a bit out of his range, he's not going to get E back up, right? He can't go on anyone, and you will just force his ult. So we don't have to E. If he runs up to you and he gets too close, you can always E backwards, right?
Yeah.
And then we just auto, right? Force his ult. And now that his ult is forced, autoing him does absolutely nothing, right? So at this point, Aphelios just threw his ult, which means he's not a threat. So you could walk up and threaten Aphelios, because you have ult, so you can always get out, right? Even if this Tryndamere tries to turn on you, it's just gonna fuck his ult time, you're gonna kill Tryndamere afterwards. So we could just walk up, start hitting Aphelios, kill him, right? We can kill Aphelios on our own, we don't need help. Or, alternatively, we just threaten him, he has to go out. Then afterwards, we can kill Tryndamere and we can help Fi with the Lee, right?
I mean, here my idea was that I want to stay on Seraphine and basically secure the Trinda kill, because I think if I go out, then Trinda just kills the Seraphine and gets out.
I mean, the reason why this happens is because obviously this Pyke E is not the best, right? It should be a bit more like this. And then also, he, like Pyke right now, he's done. You on your own, together with Seraphine, the two of you can force his ult, right? All you need to do is make sure he doesn't get his E back up. So Pyke should be walking out right now, because now he gets to auto, get one crit, right? Keeps on autoing, just kills Pyke, flashes on Seraphine, and now because we are like running in, now our fight is all alone, right? And we could have just killed Aphelios instead. And like I said, we can threaten Aphelios and still kill Tryndamere afterwards because we have ult, right? If we chunk him now and then ult back to kill Tryndamere, it's fine because Aphelios is going to be out of the fight. You're going to be able to help. You're going to be able to help your jungle on Lee Sin and on Aphelios, and then fight is really won, right? So now we kill him, and now instantly we should be running forward again and hit. Because sure, this guy's full health and you're not, but this guy has no item and you have like 1.5 items and ult up still. He has no ult and you're 2 level lead on him, right? You're much, much, much stronger. There's no way he wins. And he has like bad guns to fight as well. He has purple gun, which does nothing for him, right? So we were allowed to just walk up and then we don't have to use like, we don't have to use any sums. If we walk up insta, like after this kill, right now, if we were to walk up and hit him once, we get to ult on him, he just dies, right? And then Fi doesn't have to Q flash, you don't have to ghost, and you just kill him clean. Or I guess Seraphine gets the kill, but you get what I mean, right? The fight is clean. All in all, still a good fight, right? But if we go back, the important part of this is, first of all, right here, kind of right here, you should already have clear in your mind, should we fight Dragon or not, right? Which in this case it should always be yes, we fight, right? We fight, you are strong, your jungle is strong, you have a lot of ults and your comp is good in fights like this. So yes, you fight. And then this move is towards the idea of fighting, not the best, right? Because he's Lee Sin, he can always get out. Then you just get mid wave as soon as possible, you go here, you go on this guy, you don't have to respect, right? You kill him, and then this we just talked about, you still remember, right? And then this is all fine, right? You go back to mid, you push the wave. And now you stay. Let's see. I mean, I think this plate for sure is fine.
This plate and go out.
Yeah, exactly. Now just go out. Because the next plate is not giving you any buy. Again, really important to think about, right? Sure, if a plate is free, always take it. But if it costs you a timer on the map, you should only do it if you need the gold for a spike, right? If the spike is important and you need the gold. And in this case, you don't even get a spike, right? So you should just for sure get out. And now what I expect to happen is you're gonna get your recall delayed, which means you're low on tempo, which means you're not gonna be able to positively impact the map for a bit. So yeah, now Tryndamere gets back on map, you're not on map, right? And it means that this guy's just gonna get to push you in, and you can't really catch this wave safely, right? Which is suboptimal. And if you look at bot as well, that wave is gonna crash as well. Aphelios can now get bot turret, which kind of gets him back into the game, right?
And we also lose tower.
Yeah, so it's all off the back that you delay your recall. And like Trash, the kill on Trash is not like because of anything you did, you just inted, but even then it's not even worth. Even if it was to kill Trash and get the plate, you lose more than you gain, right?
Like the 2 times I greeded for plates this game gave them like so much time and gold back actually.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just about the amount of time you spend just doing nothing basically because of what you take, right? Which is not good. Now we get back, and again, mid game, it's like right here is just catch a wave, right? There's not too much to talk about. So you just want to catch the next wave. Then now after this wave, you have the option. So if we look map, right? Right now, Aphelios bot, Tryndamere mid means Fiora will be top, right? Right now, of course, we also don't want to look at a character. But you're kind of looking at items, I guess. But you can look on map, look at items, look at other info, right? There's no reason to just look at your champ,
I mean,
which you kind of do.
Yeah, here I got mind control while Saphira's building KP. I just pressed tab and saw up top. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but yeah,
I think
now
here I should play like the every static shift champion, just shove wave and go fog or roam it.
yeah. Here you push this wave, and now the question is, do you want to push the next one or do you want to move? I think in this spot you have coverage here and here, right? Because Seraphine is walking up, you see they don't walk like this, and you have a ward here. So you know they're not gonna be taking the inside path, and even if they are, you have this ward here as well, right on the left. So you know Lee Sin, Tryndamere, and Trash were mid, so you don't have to be worried of any of those. Aphelios you kill 1v1, and Fiora, it doesn't make sense for Fiora to build right now with the fact that Aphelios pushed this wave up so far, right? So you're
I
allowed to
think I
just
died
push
to
this wave.
Fiora here. No, I don't die to Fiora here. I die to Fiora bot lane later. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, this timing is good, right? And then now you should move on the map like you're doing. But there's kind of nothing to move for, which is awkward. Also, when we're moving,
By the way, question: when
yeah, of
they
course.
spot a ward like this with the plant,
Mhm.
and I sit next to the ward, do they see me as well?
No, I don't think so, but I wouldn't be 100% sure on that one. I know, for example, if you are sitting, like, it's a bit different, but if you are sitting in a bush that's being swept and someone hits the ward from outside of the bush, they also don't get vision on you in the bush. So I'm assuming it's kind of the same, but I'm not 100% sure, honestly.
Because I'm always like a bit skeptical if they like use the plant on the wards, and now the wards have like the true vision on them that they see the wards. If I can like walk, I know like I can walk to the bush, but if it's like pixel when the bush is small, I'm always a bit scared to walk there. Like I don't know if they see me. I need to check this somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know for sure either. But I'm assuming they don't see you. Like, to me, it wouldn't make sense if they see you
Yeah.
in the bush, right? Like, it's not their ward all of the sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we see Lee Sin on red right here, right? That's important to note. Tryndamere bot, Aphelios bot, Lee Sin on red. Now Aphelios moving to mid. We don't see Lee Sin moving out, right? Should we go for this play?
I think we are able to 2v2 them.
You think so? I mean, if you get 2v2, it's fine, right? You can go for the play. I'm just, like, personally, I'm not 100% sure, right? Because Tryndamere, if you go on Tryndamere, he has ult to stall, and then they can turn on you with Lee Sin kick. So I don't think you should overcommit too hard on him. But if you win the 2v2, then yeah, for sure, you want to take this fight, right? Yeah. I mean, this is good, right? I mean, it's good. It's good to look, and I guess you win 2v2 as well, looking at the damage that you and Fi do. So yeah, for sure, this is a good play to make. Only thing is, you kind of kite towards the left, like right here. Like right now, you don't have to kite like this, right? Because Lee Sin is somewhere in this area. So if he's like on the other side of the wall and you kite like you're now, he can like Q ward top ult you and maybe kill you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you kite more like this, even though it's a bit closer for Tryndamere or like this, you know, you still keep good distance while also being further away from Lee Sin. And then afterwards, you of course kite towards him, which is good because he's not going on you, right? And now you're just allowed to catch wave. Only thing we have to be scared of again is Lee Sin, right? So the way we're walking right now, I don't remember how many items Lee Sin had, right? But if he's able to kill you 1v1, you should be a bit careful. If he's not able to kill you 1v1, you don't have to be that careful, right? And I guess he based and went up anyway, so
Yeah.
he wasn't in bot set at the end.
But I
But
was
he could have
confident
been, right?
I can kill Listen with flash and ult up.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
don't think
if
it's.
I can,
Sorry, yeah,
if
go
I
ahead.
can like dodge his Q, then I can kill him.
I don't think it's necessarily worth to trade flash for a kill on Lee Sin at this point because your flash is quite valuable because you're going to be really strong, right? You're going to be 2 items after this base. But for sure, trading ult for kill is good, right? So if you're confident you can fight him, then yeah, don't have to play scared. Just make sure you don't face check him when he bursts you, right? Now we
Here
push
I
this
should
wave.
base and not. I got baited by wiping the tier 2 tower, but I think here I should just base.
I mean, the
I
thing
have the
is,
item.
if you base right now, right? If you base right now, sure, you can look to defend top, but you're gonna be late, and they are probably just gonna back off, right? I think Seraphine, Pyke can hold top on their own, and you know Tryndamere has no ult, right? And you have
Yeah.
ult, you're pretty strong. So I think you are able to look for a play. If I hits Q on Tryndamere, it is a quick kill, you know? And also Tryndamere doesn't have flash yet, right? Because he flashed on the dragon fight, which was like 4 minutes ago. So he doesn't have flash yet. So I think if I is just going with you here, and the Tryndamere walks up, you kill him. Yeah, and this is good. This was good, right? Do you agree?
True. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And now afterwards, of course, you don't have ult, Fi doesn't have ult. We don't have to go for play on mid, right? And it's like this Malphite, of course, he used TP and ult to get like a kill, which is not the worst, right? But he uses like double sums and ult to get one kill. When he could also save it, and if he saves it, Herald is like guaranteed as well. And then yeah, the way we walk is like awkward, right? Because you want to help, but I think here you just walk like.
Yeah, just don't walk to under the tower. Cause like there's
No, I
nothing I
mean
can do.
it's awkward. You see Trin on bot. I think walking like this is fine. I'm not sure. I didn't keep good enough track of Fiora. Fiora can be here. You never walk like this. You don't want to run into Fiora, right? Fiora can't be here yet. It's fine to walk like this. Look if you need to help on Aphelios, and then just run out when you see you don't need to, right? Because you don't know. But nah, I guess actually nah. I think it's just better to walk because he can also go on Lee Sin. If you just walk like this, you can go with your Pyke and Lee Sin. So yeah, I think for sure it's better to just walk with Pyke.
And I don't know if Fiora is there. Like I have no idea.
Sorry, what you say?
I have no idea if Fiora is there or is not.
Yeah. I didn't
Even
keep track
her.
either, right? In the replay now, and it's even easier. So. But all in all, it's still like fine. And you're getting a lot of gold, right? So right now, our objective is just to spend our gold and just keep doing the same. We want to maximize the amount of gold and XP we get to get strong, because the more items we have, the stronger your champ gets, right? Your champ has insane scaling. So even though you're 2 items, you're really strong. You're not in a spot where you have to force. Priority 1 is get the guaranteed gold and XP from like waves, and then we move and we fight with our team, or we get vision with our team, or we do whatever. We play with our team, right? That's the important thing. Yeah, here basing is fine. We don't really want to contest this wave, right? And yeah, now the build thing comes in, which we already talked about. Did you know you can cancel?
Yeah, I know. I just didn't. I think it's like you press B and click on the icons.
No, it's the other way around. You click the icon and then press B. You kind of want to do it at the same time.
Okay.
So there's 2 options actually. You can press it and then press the E, because it's also like a channel that you start, and it will cancel it. But you can also do it with B. With B, it's a bit easier in my opinion. So you click with the mouse on the level up, and then you click B at the same time.
I mean, I knew there is a way to cancel it, but I wasn't sure how to do it. So I thought, like, yeah, just clicking it normally is faster than maybe me canceling it and trying weird shit.
I mean, you don't have to worry about fucking it up, because there's 2 outcomes. Either you animation cancel it and it's faster, or you don't, and
it's the same.
And it just does it normally, right? So unless you start B and then press it, and then you back channel start, right? But yeah, we're out of mid. We just want to clear wave, right? Ideally, we are not the guy. Ideally, we are not the guy to be on mid waves necessarily, because we want solo XP if possible, and we clear wave silent really fast, right? But right now, Seraphine is bot, so it makes sense. And this is just you running with Pyke. You get the wave, which is good. But now we don't have to pressure Aphelios. So we get this wave, right? We get this wave. We can just clear this cannon and run to our team, because this guy is not in the fight. Look at how far away he is, right? He's respecting you already. We can just take this cannon and run to the fight. And we want to, of course, watch what is going on in the fight as well, right? Yeah, and I mean, the damage you're trying to get in here is really irrelevant, right? The fight's already over. You just want to get out and don't want to take this damage. And now you lose Fletch, which is actually like a big deal, right, for you, because you're so fat. Play it like normal speed. And yeah, we shouldn't be running up to Tryndamere with ult, right? We don't want to take this fight right now. Seraphine doesn't have ult yet. You just lost Flash, and it's numbers disadvantage, right? All of them are here. Of course, Lee Sin is out of the fight right now, but it's a 4v5 still, right?
Yeah. And I didn't see the Fiora TP until they started pinging it.
Yeah. And now we might even get run down all the way, which is like really big for them, right? If they do. And the same here, like even though it's third dragon, right? We don't have to overcommit for a fight. That's bad to take because it will be a throw, right?
Yeah.
Like if we die, if we all die here, if you all die here, it's game over basically. They get third rig and insane amount of gold. It's GG. The only thing you can do, of course, is like you can look with, because you're playing Kai'Sa, you can look with W poke, right? So what you're doing here is fine. You're looking with W poke. Ideally, I don't want you to be in this spot. I want you to kind of walk around and get into this spot, because this is still risky, right? They can go on you here, they can go like this, while others go like this, and then they will be able to run you down, right? So I would want you to run around, sit like here, and look for the W's from this angle. But yeah, for looking for W's is fine, right? And now just get out. You miss W, just get out.
Running here is bad.
And we also, like, because sure, Malphite and Seraphine have ult, but they're kind of the supportive cast right now, right? You and Fire are the ones that actually deal the most damage at this point in the game. Like, Seraphine does good damage, but it's like slow damage, right? She has cooldowns that she has to play on. Now we base. Just run bot, catch wave. I'm not sure if it's you that should be running bot, but I think it's like, I don't think it should be you running bot, because you want to play on the strong side of your team, and right now the strong side of your team is top side, right? Because you are strong, right? And Malphite is fine dropping some CS. He really doesn't care. And Herald is the objective you want to play for, and your team is top side, right? So what we should be doing is, and this goes every time you're the split pusher and you are strong, you get to decide which side lane you go, right? And the Malphite has to respect. Other way around, let's say your Malphite was a fat Fiora, then the Fiora gets to choose the side lane he wants to go, and you just have to say, okay, I go the other one, right? But in this case, it's you that decides which side lane you want to go, which in this case should be top, and then you're with your team. You just get saved, you collect your wave. Again, still number one priority, right? When we're playing Kai'Sa, number one priority, get XP, get to your items. So get XP and get gold. When we get level 16, when we get level 16 is not the most relevant, but when we get our W max, when we get our Q max, it's really strong. When we get our items, every item spike becomes stronger and stronger, right? So we just want to run top, get our XP, get our gold, and then we can play with the team. And also, it makes sense right now that, because I already kind of spoiled myself that you're going to die on side lane, right? But it makes sense because we're not actually allowed to push up because we have no info, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and also, like, I actually realized this one before going out of the base, because also I don't have TP, I don't play TP, and Malphite I think has TP, so he'll be on the other side of the
He might have, yeah. It might still be down from like the mid play, but he might have it. But regardless, even if Malphite doesn't have TP,
I should be one on the strong side, on like the closer to the next objective.
Yeah, for sure. And mainly, even if you're not close to objective, you just want to be in the strong side of your team, right? Like, let's say the objective is Herald, but the objective is not to contest it. Then your team and you should still be on the same side, right? And if the strong side then is bot lane, then you should go bot lane, right? Because you want to get the gold, you want to get the XP. And yeah, here you die, which, I mean, after you clear this wave, you can also go out, right? There's no need to stick around because you're not looking to pressure anything, right? No
I
need
mean,
to.
it's pretty obvious if I didn't autopilot that I see Tryndamere just is on top lane, so Fiora is
Yeah.
obviously bot lane.
And I mean, you can play it however well you want. Like, you're never gonna win this 1v1, right? It's like
Yeah.
doomed 1v1 for you, purely because of champion matchup.
Like maybe with Ghost. But probably I'm still dying.
Yeah, but even with the Ghost, he will be really fast with his ult on, right? It gives him movement speed. And this, honestly, like before, like before this fight, game is in a really good spot, right? You can for sure hard carry from this point on because you are really, really strong, right? You're really accelerated in the game. You have a lot of gold. You have a lot of XP. So right now, if you are able to play how you want to play, you should be able to carry the game, right? But because of some mistakes, right, which aren't only your mistakes, but there are mistakes that are happening, right, that you can avoid partially, right? The game becomes hard, and then you can't. Like now, it's after you down bot, it's not up to you to carry anymore, right? Like if this doesn't happen, and then we down bot, now the game is out of your hand, right?
Yeah. And also, if I ran top lane, I would get like there was a huge slow push coming, so I would get even more gold instead of running for
Yeah,
1v.
you would be getting a lot of gold for sure, which would accelerate you even more. And again, right, you can for sure carry when you're ahead, right, on a champ like Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
Just this game, because of the mistakes you made, right? Which are the two big ones. Like the biggest one is the one on mid, and then the side lane here as well. It's really big. And now, yeah, game is hard. Also, quickly to go back, like on this, right? When you get out of base here, so we go for this fight. Now you're also allowed to ping your team back, right? Because all you want to do, and you are the carry, right? So you are allowed to kind of command your team around. If they don't listen, I mean, unlucky, right? But you're allowed to, if they want to win, they should be listening to what you want to do. You're allowed to command them around, and you just want to push mid wave and then move in, right? You don't want to skip steps, because if you skip steps, it's bad for you, because you're gonna drop gold, you're gonna drop XP. So you just want to push, like step one, right? Step one, push. Step two, we move. And this is generally too, right? You don't really want to skip waves in favor of looking for a maybe play, right? Because this is a maybe play. Maybe he hits the hook and you get a kill.
And also, we don't have Seraphine here, even if like.
Yeah, it's not a good spot to look for the fight, right? And you can see it as well. If we go here, right? You see you're on mid, but even if you are with the team, Pyke is in a really rough spot already to start out the fight, right?
Yeah.
So even if you did quote unquote everything correct regarding your own clicks and gameplay, it would still not be a good scenario, right? You would still drop priority on the dragon and then probably not fight it and trade it for Herald, which is not what you want to do at this point. At this point, you're strong enough to take every fight and win as a team if played correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that happens, and then again this happens, right? And now it's hard. Now it's really hard.
I mean, now the game felt also like really hard.
Yeah, now the game. I mean, if the enemies don't mess up, the game is lost, right? And your team also, right? It is the classic solo queue thing. Something bad happens, right? Like the fight happened, which was bad. Then you die inside, which is obviously bad. And now what is this play? You know, what are they doing on mid? It doesn't even make any sense. They're fighting without any reason, right? They're fighting over mid wave that is not theirs to fight over with no objective up. So random shit to start happening in solo queue. It always does. Right. We can quickly go over the fight just to watch mechanically, but the review is basically done. So if there's anything you want to still watch or like rewatch, maybe now's the time to think about it.
I'm thinking if there was like anything in the game that I need to see again.
I mean, we'll for sure do like a quick recap on like the most important things, right? But yeah. Also, I think when I'm watching this fight, for sure, Rageblade is not the best third item in this game. Like, look at how much pressure there is on you when you walk up to auto attack.
Yeah. Probably going just like static shift and Luden and going full
Yeah.
W.
I mean, it's
Something
either
like that.
static shift Ludens or you can do the Nashers. I don't think it's the worst, but then just full AP after. There's no need to get the Rage
Yeah.
Blade as well. Obviously, if you're into a comp where you're legit free to auto attack as much as you want, it's a different story. But I think in this comp, it's hard, right? And yeah, they end the game here, I assume. Oh, they don't. Okay, never
They
mind.
don't. There's. I
Spawn
think
in
someone
time.
else will just die. They will. I almost die to Fiora again on side lane.
Yeah. I mean, now there's also no one in your team left to deal with Fiora, right? Yeah, and he just ends the game. Which makes
Yeah.
sense because there's no one left to deal with her. Because you don't win 1v1, Malphite doesn't win 1v1. I'm not even sure you can kill her 1v2, and if you don't kill her 1v2, they just get shit on the other side of the map, right? And you have to be in fights to win them. So, yeah. I mean, all in all, I think it was a pretty good game you picked, to be honest, to review. Because I think there were a lot of things that could have been done a bit better that might have changed the outcome a lot, right? Starting off
Mhm.
with, of course, like the waves early on, where our game plan should always be. Also, this like the recap part of it, right? In case
Yeah.
that wasn't clear, but yeah, our like your objective in a lane like this should always be to get a cheater recall off. And you can even cheat a recall, for example, for Kull, right? I think in this lane it's really fine because it's kind of a farming lane. You don't have um, kill pressure on him on your
Yeah.
own.
I can't kill him because he has
Um,
D-shield and Q.
but even if you don't do kill, I think rushing static is also fine. You can just buy components, right, and be stronger for like fights with your team. Then we go too fast on this wave, right? Obviously, we talked about how you can then play the wave states, but ideally you don't want to have to, right? And then here's the thing where, like watching what happens on the map is really important, right? Because this fight, I'm 100% sure that if you had known beforehand the fight would go like this, you would have done what we talked about, which is just fast push these
Yeah.
minions and then move, right? Um, but because you didn't look, you weren't able to make a judgment call, you didn't do it, right? Which made this early game a bit worse than that to be right. At this point, we could have had a lead, and we don't really. And then, yeah, this happens where we talked about the potential freeze, right? And it's important to, when you have a good wave state, to like be able to call your
Yep.
team, call resources for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that you are able to get the lead and carry through the lead.
I feel like I should also like start actively thinking about the waves before the game, because
Yeah,
sometimes I
for
feel
sure.
I know what I should do, but it's like solo queue, so I just autopilot and hit the wave
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
actually using my brain and realizing I can gain way more by not hitting it or like playing the. Because
I
I
mean,
feel like
yeah,
I
yeah, sorry.
sometimes I feel like I know what I should do, but for some reason I'm not doing that.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I think like in this review, right, and when I watch your runes and stuff like as well, it looks like you are able to think about everything, right? It's not as if you don't understand or you're unable to understand certain concepts, but for sure, um, having the habit of wanting like having the habit of having an objective for how to play is really good, right? And that goes already from when you get in champ select. It already starts, right? Like the game
Yeah.
doesn't start at minute one. The game starts in champ select, right? So yeah, for sure. And I think if you, I say this to everyone, right? But I think step one to improving is being proactive in the way you think. Because even if you are then wrong, let's say you come into a match and you think, okay, we talked about it. I want to slow push free and then cheat, right? And then you get
Yeah.
into the match and you find out, okay, I can't because of X reason. Then at least you know, okay, in this scenario, I can't do it because of X reason, right? Instead of
Mhm.
just playing the game and then having a certain outcome. So yeah, for sure. Um, all right. Is there anything you still want to ask or you still want to look at?
No, there's probably nothing like the overextending for plates. but we already talked about it like 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
And like think actively about waves and abuse good waves for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that then ends the session for me.